What's up, y'all? Just as a reminder, my ADHD friendly task planner for ClickUp is available for you to get for yourself. It is highly customizable, highly integratable, and it is automated. So it will help you put your tasks where they need to be without you having to do much more than click a couple of buttons. So if you want to see how it works, there's a video for that. And if you just think that it sounds awesome just from this alone and you want to get one for yourself, the link is in my description. And yeah, have at it. It's fun. That ends my shameless plug for the day. Let's get to the rest of the video. What's up, suckers? It's me. Sorry you guys didn't hear from me last week. It was a shit week, and I kind of had to prioritize a bunch of things over YouTube. Gasp. And yeah, I just couldn't make a video last week. But I'm here today, and I'm wearing what I just now realized is probably my husband's shirt. It's really soft though, so mine now, sucker. Anyway, today I wanted to go ahead and talk about some tools that are extremely helpful for ADHD, have been helpful for my ADHD, that a lot of people don't always talk about, but they can help with a variety of ADHD problems, struggles, symptoms, whatever word you want to use. And some of them are fun, some of them are just like right there for us to use, and they're great to have in mind for you if you have these particular problems. And with that, let's get into a few things that will help you with your ADHD struggles. Before I get into it any further, just as a reminder, if this channel does it for you, if I do it for you, if I'm really helping you out, just go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe. It helps me find cool people, helps cool people find me, and that's just what YouTube wants me to say, and that's also what I want. So, please. For those of you who are coming back, welcome back. And for those of you who are coming here for the first time, hi, my name is Ariana. I am an ADHD productivity coach. I mainly work with business owners, and there's just not a lot of us, but I feel like there is a real need for us because the productivity world, the business world, still hasn't caught up to the fact that ADHD brains work. They just work differently. And we're not broken, we're not fucked up, we're not lazy. We are people who have brains that need to be worked with a certain way, and it's totally possible for us to be productive. So here I am trying to help other ADHDers be productive and helping coach business owners and ADHD brains who really know that they could move forward. They just need extra help. So here I am, giving extra help. I'm a regular Mother Teresa, but without all the hateful shit. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into those different tools, shall we? So let's start with the first problem, okay? The first problem is that our minds are constantly zipping all over the place. They're always thinking of something. They're always thinking of something else. And by something else, I mean whatever it is that we're doing at that moment, our brains are often focused on something else, something that's not what we're supposed to be doing at that moment, especially on days where your medication may not be working well, or if you don't take medication, that can be very often. And so sometimes we are going to think about things that are very important. Sometimes we are going to make appointments and just not have a way to write it down at the time. Sometimes we are going to have a great idea that we want to revisit later, but we don't have a way to mark that down on our phones or whatever. By the way, that system that I told you about earlier does come with printables that you can put around the house. Okay, now I'm done, I promise. And so sometimes the best way to handle this is using dry erase markers. If you have dry erase markers already, and most of us do, let's be real, all you have to do is leave one or two around the house and make sure that they are easily visible. You always put them in the same place every time. I know that that's a little difficult, but if you can just like try, it's worth it. Because the great thing about dry erase markers is they write on glass and they write on countertops. They write on a number of different surfaces and can easily be wiped off. So in the moment, if you happen to be on the phone and you have to write something down and you have nowhere to write it at that particular point, go ahead and grab your dry erase marker, write it on your countertop, write it on some glass, and then when you're done with the phone call, go get something to come write it down on, or use your phone to take a screenshot and hold on to it. A caveat, because I'm not interested in receiving anybody's home improvement bills, this does not work well for porous surfaces. So if you have like marble or granite, you're not going to be able to write on your countertop with dry erase markers. Like you can start out doing that, but eventually it is going to soak in and you're going to get stains. But besides that, you still have windows, you still have, dry erase boards, because when you buy markers, very rarely they're going to come without boards. You're going to have more surfaces to write things on. Just remember to take note of it right after you are actually able to have your hands free to put it someplace, and then make sure you erase it. Otherwise, your house is gonna look like that guy's body from Memento. Problem number 2, prioritization. I have said this before and I'll say it again, ADHDers suck at prioritizing. And it is not our fault. It is the fact that our brains take everything in at once a lot. We tend to hear 5 things and we either forget 4 of those 5 things because it's really hard to keep track of them all, or we hear them all and what we hear immediately is we need to finish all of those 5 things at once and we freak. So prioritization is really, really, really difficult, and there are a lot of ways that we can do it. I don't know if you guys can hear my rooster right now, but every time that he crows, I just hope that, Chupacabra comes and gets him. I understand that that's a Mexican creature, but we're not that far. Never get a rooster. Anyway, so prioritization is hard. It's a difficult thing for people with brains like ours because we have to think about things in an order of importance, in an order of deadline, and it's really hard for us to do that in our brains without putting it directly in front of us. So there are the usual tools, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about different tools that maybe we aren't told about. And for me, one of the best tools out there are time management games. And you're probably like, oh shit, video games, what? My personal favorites are things like Hotel Mania, Diner Dash, things like that, where you are essentially forced to take care of customers in order of priority. So you have customers that are slow to get angry, customers that are quick to get angry, customers that are going to order more than one thing, and it kind of starts forcing you to pay attention to who you have to get to first and what is worth dropping and what is worth picking up and what you have to pay attention to in what order. And in doing that, you kind of get used to looking at things according to how quickly they expire versus how urgent they are. And it just kind of helps when it's time for you to start writing down your tasks. It actually exercises that part of the brain. Another word to the wise, because these places know that we're out there playing and in horrible, horrible need of dopamine. A lot of these games are going to have microtransactions. So if you're going to play them, there are a few ways that you can avoid spending too much money. The first way is to just go into your phone and make sure that you turn off the ability to make purchases from your phone. The second way is to have a timer set that will go off when it's time for you to stop playing the game. And another really good one is to just tell yourself that you're only going to play however many rounds, and then you get to that round and you move on to something that you really want to do to help get you off of that game. So you really just kind of want to avoid falling into a big old rabbit hole. But once you have that set, this is a great way for you to practice prioritization and have a little bit of fun with it too. Thing number 3 is not just an ADHD problem, but it's really big in ADHD circles, and that's imposter syndrome. For those of you who don't really know what it is or have only heard of it in name, imposter syndrome is the constant belief that you are an imposter, that basically whatever job that you're doing or whatever high stakes position you have, you got it by accident, and that everybody's going to find out that you actually don't know what the fuck you're doing, and then you're going to get fired or disgraced. And the truth is, the only people who ever feel this way are people who are not imposters. And I am saying this as a hypocrite because I feel like an imposter all the time. I constantly feel like people have no business listening to me. But I have spoken with some really cool people who know otherwise, and I have done a lot of research on imposter syndrome myself. And the fact is, it's just a byproduct of your brain lying to you. And I've mentioned before that ADHD brains are fucking liars. And the best way to combat that is to see the truth. So what I tend to suggest to people is something that I don't hear about enough, and that is called a brag book. You can also call it a brag folder. I don't really care. But the point of a brag book is to keep an actual folder, a journal, a folder on your computer, a bunch of sticky notes on your wall, doesn't matter. And basically what you do is every time you have a win, you keep that win in your brag book or brag folder. You put it down and you have it there for you to review, because ultimately what's going to happen is you're going to have a day where you're going to feel like you are absolute shit. Nobody's listening to you. You're not getting to anyone. You're not helping anyone. You are absolutely useless. And that is the day when you need to pull out that brag folder and pull out that brag book and see the things that you have done that you actually have to be proud of. And is this absolutely going to cure your imposter syndrome? No, I don't actually think you can cure imposter syndrome because your brain's hardwired to mess with you that way. But if you have the right tools to fight it, it becomes less and less of an issue as time goes. And this is a really great way to do that, because in no way, and even our brains that kind of secretly hate us would admit to this, there is no way that you would be able to achieve the things that you've achieved if you didn't already know what you were doing. Yeah, fakers get caught and they get found out, but very, very rarely do they ever get to Elizabeth Thomas levels. So, yeah, you're doing fine. And I just found out that her name is Elizabeth Holmes, okay? So sorry, I don't know. Anyway, so now we're on to issue number 4, and that is a big one, and that is our difficulty to focus. Now, there are tons of different things out there that are going to help you focus. There are tons of different things that don't work, but one that surprised me was white noise. So white noise is only one of the colors of noise. I'm going to sound like a total idiot explaining this because I really don't know why it's called white noise. I think it has something to do with frequencies or I don't know. Somebody in the comments explain if you know. But there's white noise, brown noise, pink noise, and all of these are just neutral kinds of noise. Think like the noise that happens with when your TV has like snow, or when there's interference on a radio that is still giving you noise, but it isn't giving you too much. So if you're the kind of person who actually really likes background noise, but you find that music tends to distract you, white noise is actually a huge, huge help on this. So just to give you a little bit of an idea, I did a little bit of personal research on this. This is purely anecdotal, but I was doing a lot of writing, and I had actually read that people with attention problems should be using white noise as their background noise while they're writing. Now, I used to write with music in the background, and it was any music really that pumped me up. Sometimes it was music with lyrics, sometimes it wasn't. But I was very, very interested in this because there have been studies done on this, and it seems like there is a correlation between the neutrality of white noise and focus. So I decided to test this out. And obviously, this was not scientific in any way, but I basically had 3 days where I sat down and I wrote. But I did this over 4 days. And the first day, I wrote with music I liked. The second day, I wrote with instrumental music like classical music. The third day, I wrote with absolute silence. And the fourth day, I wrote with white noise. And without a doubt, my day where I wrote with white noise was way more productive. I think the first day I wrote like 600 words, and the day that I tried to do complete silence, I guess I forgot that I had 2 kids, and so that dead silence just allowed me to hear them fighting, and so I spent a lot of time stopping and starting to tell them to quit fighting, and so that was like 800 words. And by the time I got to day 4, I went ahead and I used that white noise and wrote over 2,000 words. And all of this was during an hour's period of time. I don't fully understand the science of it. I'm not going to pretend that I do, but there does definitely seem to be a trend in studies done on this that white noise does cause a higher level of focus. It does help with focus. And if you're like, oh, this sounds like bullshit, I just implore you to try it once. Just try it once. It's worth the shot. And if white noise doesn't work, try brown, try pink, just to see if there is a difference. To me, they don't sound any different. I hate to get all I don't see color about sound, but I really don't see what the difference is. But I have heard that some of those other frequencies tend to work better than white noise. So I would say try that out and see if that helps. And now we're on to thing number 5, and that's anxiety. So a lot of people don't realize that. And now we're up to issue number 5. It's anxiety. And a lot of us, me included, aren't really aware that anxiety is a part of ADHD. We really tend to see them as 2 separate things, which is kind of understandable. But ADHD and anxiety kind of go hand in hand. As a matter of fact, ADHD kind of goes in hand with a lot of things. It seems that ADHD brains cooperate with everything except for their owners. Isn't it great? So with anxiety, there are obviously a lot of other things that you can do, a lot of tools. And again, I want to point out that this isn't about the usual stuff. This is about stuff that a lot of people may not know. So for anxiety, one thing that I have realized helps a lot of people that they aren't aware of is music. And I mean music that you like to scream to yell to sing at the top of your lungs to. And if you're like, I can't sing, when I sing, people get offended. I tried singing at my sister's wedding and now nobody in the family will talk to me. This isn't about you sounding good. It's about the fact that singing has actually been found to lower anxiety. It has been found in actual studies, guys, not in my anecdotal, I just decided to scream "Hit Me Baby" one more time one day and felt better. This has actually been found to work. It doesn't have to be in front of people. It doesn't have to sound good. It doesn't even have to be like a long singing session. But these are actual real studies that have shown that singing tends to release certain endorphins, including things like oxytocin, which are responsible for lowering stress and anxiety. So sometimes, if it turns out that you are feeling anxious or scared about something, a client call, having to talk to one of your kids' teachers virtually, starting a new project, sometimes giving yourself the option to sing out loud, to really belt it out, to really like get all of your emotions and physical strength and muscles behind that tune behind that air and just pushing it out can really make you feel stronger, happier, less stressed. So sometimes it's worth it to play a little bit of music in the background, as long as you're not doing anything that's really, really, really going to take a lot of focus. And there you have it. I hope that one of these things at least helped you out in the long run, that it's going to make you feel a little bit more in control, or that it's going to give you something fun or interesting to try if you deal with one of these symptoms. And if you're here, you probably do. And I just want to thank you for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this worked for you. Drink some water, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.